About 9:52 a.m., a male over the curb, West 19th. About 9:52 a.m., a male suspect drove a vehicle over the curb, West 19th, west of College Avenue, struck pedestrians. He exited the vehicle and used a butcher knife to start cutting pedestrians. Our officers was on scene in less than a minute, and he ended the situation less than a minute. He engaged the suspect and he eliminated the threat. The suspect is DOA. The investigation is ongoing. There were 9 people transported to the hospitals, 8 in stable condition, 1 in critical condition. We are making sure that we do everything we can to investigate this very thoroughly and not leave any hole unturned.
Suspect dead, 9 in hospital after Ohio State car and knife attack. An Ohio State University student plowed a car into a campus crowd, then jumped out and started stabbing people with a butcher knife before being shot dead by police Monday morning, officials said. 9 people were taken to hospitals after the ambush, and 1 was in critical condition. The incident was initially reported as an active shooter situation, but the suspect did not shoot anyone. A police officer was on the scene within a minute and killed the assailant. He engaged the suspect and eliminated the threat, OSU Police Chief Craig Stone said. Law enforcement officials told NBC News the suspect's name is Abdul Artan, an 18-year-old student at the university. He was a Somali refugee who left his homeland with his family in 2007, lived in Pakistan and then came to the United States in 2014 as a legal permanent resident of the United States, officials said. The motive was unknown, but officials said the attack was clearly deliberate and may have been planned in advance. This was done on purpose, Stone said. A campus lockdown was lifted about 11:30 a.m., some 90 minutes after the violence unfolded on the Columbus, Ohio, campus, where 60,000 students are enrolled. This car just swerved and ran into a whole group of people, said Nicole Kreinbrink, who was walking down the street when she saw the car hit people who had evacuated an academic building during a fire alarm. All these people were running and screaming and yelling, she added. Active shooter situation on Ohio State University campus. WCMH Jacob Bowers, an OSU sophomore, was sitting on a bench about 100 feet away when he noticed people running. Then I heard someone yell, "He's got a knife." And I saw a guy with a big-ass knife just chasing people around. When I saw that, I grabbed all my stuff and started running, Bowers said. Bowers said he looked back to see a police officer on the scene. The officer yelled to the suspect, "Drop it and get down or I'll shoot," and then fired on the suspect, Bowers said. The man was going insane, he said. Another student told NBC News he heard gunfire from his dorm room. I heard gunshots from my dorm, probably 6 or 7, said Stephen Yunker, 18, a freshman who lives 2 blocks from Watts Hall, where the incident occurred. He said he and his roommate looked at each other, heard sirens about 5 seconds later, and then looked out the window. We saw fire trucks, couple of cars, and a body laying on the ground, he said. The Columbus Fire Department said it transported 10 people to hospitals. 9 were in stable condition and 1 was in critical condition. OSU police at OSU Police Buckeye Alert, continue to shelter in place. Avoid area of college. More information to follow. 10:02 a.m., the 28th of November 2016, 579,579 retweets, 256,256 likes. The campus was put on lockdown for 90 minutes after the university first reported an active shooter. In the chaos of the moment, "Run, hide, fight," the university's emergency management office tweeted. Continue to shelter in place. Students hunkered down in classrooms with shades drawn across the 2,000-acre campus. Lisa Goldstein, 26, was in her Geographical Information Systems class in Stillman Hall when a text alert hit everyone's phones. The students blocked the door with their book bags and monitored social media and live streams for updates. It's a little overwhelming and scary. It's not something you think would happen on our campus, she told NBC News. Ohio Governor John Kasich tweeted that the state's thoughts and prayers go out to the Ohio State community. Be safe, listen to first responders. LeBron James at King James praying for all students on at Ohio State campus. Please find safely ASAP. 11:05 a.m., the 28th of November 2016, 17,131 retweets, 35,716 likes. President Barack Obama was briefed on the attack, a White House spokesman said. The FBI was assisting in the investigation. Hassan Omar, president of the Somali Community Association of Ohio, told NBC News that reports the attacker was Somali was upsetting. Every Somali person has been calling me, and everybody is crying, he said. This is a shock, he added. As a Somali community here, we are in a state of shock. In Columbus, we live in a very peaceful community. This is gonna affect the life of everybody. We are American and we don't want somebody to create this problem.
A couple of things here, just to pick up on exactly what Jim was talking about, Mr. Kavanaugh. It does appear, according to law enforcement officials, that this was a planned attack based on some initial information that they found about the suspect who was shot and killed on the scene. We believe he was a student. We have a name here, but again, we're holding off on it until we're absolutely certain of it. But we believe he was a student at Ohio State University, a Somali refugee and lawful permanent resident of the U.S. who lived in Columbus, obviously, since he was a student, not far from the campus. He was the one who was shot and killed at the right at the scene. A second person who was in the car with him, we're told by authorities, fled and was arrested in a parking garage. So officials will, I'm sure, be able to give us a lot more information about why they think this happened. But all we've been told here is that they drove into the two people in the car, drove into the crowd, police believe intentionally, got out of the car. One of the men attacked people with a knife. None of the victims that were wounded had gunshot wounds. And so now they are searching the social media of both the two people that they believe were involved in this attack. As I said before, there's no indication that they had come across any of the terror database before. And they were not under surveillance. They were not anyone that law enforcement had been interested in the past. But more information is emerging now about who was involved here. Still a little unclear about what the potential motive was, but all indications that we're getting now are that this was a planned attack.
And Pete, a couple of questions for you as we wait, by the way, reminding our viewers any minute now for a press conference involving the Ohio State University president, Michael Drake. We expect that to begin momentarily, and we will bring that to you live when it happens. But Pete, when you talk about the idea that law enforcement sources of yours are saying this appears to be a planned attack, can you talk about what they are basing that on? Do you know?
All right.
I do, but I'm not going to say at this point until we can nail that down. But but they have reason to believe that there was a planned attack, perhaps some things that were said beforehand.
So when Jim Kavanaugh talks about the potential that this could be speculatively a road rage incident or something, it's your understanding that that is looking less likely?
Correct.
Okay. When you talk about motive, I know it's far too early to even begin discussions about this, but do we know anything about the discussions that are happening now between law enforcement officials and that second person, the other person in the car who apparently ran and then was arrested in the parking garage?
I don't.
Well, again, I think that he obviously is a towering figure.